Hi everyone, and welcome to DentiMax. My name's Alicia, and I'm going to be walking through the software with you today. We're going to cover a little bit of navigation first before we dive into the program. When you first open the program, you start on a home page. The home page is totally customizable to your office's needs. You can create different home pages for the different roles in your office. You can customize the home page for everybody to use so that you have common sections set up for general use, such as an insurance management section or a recall management section, as well as links to different websites that you might go to frequently. Our system is what we call a point-and-click system. So if you'll notice, we have a toolbar at the top of the screen that has patients, scheduler, chart, etc. listed there. What's great about our system is you don't have to start at any given starting point. You're able to jump in and go directly where you'd like to go. So for example, if I want to open up a patient's ledger, I can click on ledger and then search for my patient via chart number or any other searchable options that you may use in your system. We also have a back and a forward button in the top left corner of the screen, just like an internet browser would. So you're able to go back through your previous screens for quick and easy navigation. Generally, as a front office person, I would like to work from the scheduler. So we're going to go ahead and start there and open the schedule by clicking on Scheduler. You can customize the schedule screen and have as many or as few columns on the scheduler as you'd like. And you can also look at the schedule in a daily view, a weekly view, or even a monthly view. No matter what view you're on, it's super simple to send out email reminders to your patients about their upcoming appointment. Simply right-click on the day that you'd like to send an email for and click Send Email Reminder for all the appointments in this view. It'll create a list for you on the fly so you can see how many patients you're going to be sending emails to and deselect anyone that's appropriate and go ahead and click the Send button. You're also able to send individual emails to patients just by selecting the appointment first and then right-clicking on their appointment and selecting Send Email Reminder for this appointment. Aside from sending an email reminder to your patients about their appointments, you're also able to send a free email out to your patients that they are due for their hygiene appointment and it's time for them to get scheduled just with a couple of clicks. DentiMax does offer automated texting as well now to do appointment confirmations, which will update the appointment for you and add a note that that appointment was confirmed via text. It'll also send automated recall reminders via text as well, birthday messages, and you can direct text your patient back and forth in our messaging center. It's easy to get around our scheduler with our interactive calendar in the top left corner of the screen. So once again, all we have to do is point and click on the day we'd like to go to. You can also use your plus or minus keys to go forward or back a day. Click the Go to Today button, plus 14 days, 90 days, and 6 months. Go forward a month, forward a year, back a month, back a year, or click directly on the month you'd like to jump to. All of those options are built in to make it easy for you to navigate throughout the program. I'm going to go back to today's schedule and show you how to make an existing patient's appointment. Let's say Ben Affleck is coming in today and he's going to be seen for an emergency at 4:15. All I have to do is double click where I'd like to schedule his appointment and start typing in the first couple characters of his last name. I see him here and I can select him to pull in his patient data onto the appointment. We do get a handy medical alert pop-up first, so you can be aware that he should be pre-medicating. You are able to also assign an appointment color to the appointment if your office likes to color code. Set the length of the appointment, and you can go ahead and change the appointment manually to confirmed if he told you he's going to be there this afternoon. Because this is an existing patient, we're able to attach service codes to his appointment from an existing treatment plan that he may have by simply selecting and dragging and dropping that item down to the treatment for this appointment we're scheduling. We could add new items one at a time through our New Treatment Item button, or we can schedule the procedures from a multi-code, which is a combination of different procedures that you can create and customize in the system. I'm going to go ahead and choose Emergency Exam, which is going to schedule a limited exam and a PA for me. If you'll notice here, the appointment does show you the appointment total for that day, but you can also see the patient's current account balance. So if they owe you a lot of money in this case, you may be prepping the patient to be prepared with this checkbook today. We do have the option for integrated real-time eligibility through one of our partners, either Dental Exchange or Apex, and that data will pop right up on the screen when you select the check eligibility option. We're going to go ahead and save our changes to save the appointment to the schedule. There's a few icons listed at the top of the appointment that provide valuable information for you. Checkmark is indicating that Ben has confirmed with us. The TX is indicating that he has a treatment plan that we need to perform. If we actually click on that little TX icon, we'll get a pop-up on the screen that allows us to print out his treatment plan in real time. So you don't have to jump to any particular screen in order to collect that data and show Ben an estimate of what he'll owe for his treatment plan. We also have the medical alert button, which will give you his medical alerts if you click on that. And if you simply just hover over the appointment, you get additional details and of course a great photo here about the man himself. If I'd like to make a new patient appointment, I'm going to follow a similar path. I just double click where I want to schedule my patient, but instead of searching for them here in the patient lookup space, I'm going to skip past that field and start plugging in their data. You can keep it as simple as just entering the name and a phone number for the patient if they don't have time to give you all their data, and you can ask them to come in a little bit early and fill out their registration information on your in-office patient kiosk. The kiosk software will actually allow your patient to enter in head of household information, insurance information, medical alerts, previous dental history, and even allow your patients to sign any office-specific consent forms that you want to attach to the kiosk software. I'm just going to set the length of the appointment for George, schedule his appointment from our multi-codes, and choose Initial Adult Visit, and save my changes. The main difference between the appointment for the new patient and an existing patient is this little person icon. When the patient actually comes in, this little person is flagging you that they need to get registered in the system. All we have to do is select their patient appointment, and in the options menu, click the option that says Create the Patient File with the same little person icon. Once I select that, it's going to open up my patient information screen where I can go ahead and fill in the rest of the pertinent data for the patient. Let's say George is coming in today for an exam, but he doesn't need a cleaning yet for a few months. Our system will actually allow you to put in his cleaning frequency and manually set his next recall date, since we don't have any history yet in the system prompting us to call him. This allows us to close the gap to make sure our new patients don't fall through the cracks in getting rescheduled for their recall. On the patient information screen as well, you do have a space to customize your referral sources and are able to run specific reports to track what marketing resources are paying off for you. You're thanking your patient and provider referrals appropriately. At the top of the screen, we have a number of different tabs listed here, all of which contain different information. I'm going to go ahead to Insurance Info, and we have a space here for primary insurance information and secondary insurance information. If they don't have any insurance, it's simple. Just leave it blank. If they do have primary insurance, you're able to choose who the subscriber is of the insurance plan and what their relationship is to the patient. If it's the patient themselves, just choose Self. And then under the insurance section, you're able to search for a particular company that you'll need to use and verify the group number. If I don't see the plan I'm looking for, I'm just going to click the little magnifying glass to open up my master list of plans, maybe do a more in-depth search by group number or any other customized filter that you'd like to use. And if you don't find the plan here still, you are able to use one of the plans in your system and make a quick copy of it and change whatever parameters are necessary for this patient's insurance plan. For example, in this screen, I'm going to go ahead and change the group name to Kellogg's. plug in a group number for the patient and just verify and edit the frequencies and limitations of their insurance plan as needed. In the coverage tab, you're able to change the deductibles, when the plan renews, maximum for the plan, and of course the default coverage table. You are able to break down the default coverage table all the way to the code level if you'd like to. Our system will also retain payment history or payment information from that given group number so that it will more accurately calculate what the patient owes in any downgrade situation as you go and continue to build history in the program. We'll just go ahead and save our changes now and have very quickly created a new insurance plan. Select that insurance plan and attach it to the patient, and finish it off by entering the patient's subscriber ID number. We have a space here to mark any missing teeth if the patient has them and we want to enter that. On the front office end, any medical alerts we can go ahead and select here, and then any current medications that the patient's taking you're able to enter as well. We have a few extra tabs for custom information that the office is able to set up based on your needs. And we're going to go ahead and save our changes for this patient. Now that George is an existing patient in our system, let's go ahead and check him in. We're going to simply right-click on his appointment and change the status of the appointment to ready to be seen. That green dot is what's going to signify to the assistant to come get the patient seated. The assistant can also work from the schedule, which is great, so that they'll be able to watch and see when their patient's ready and available to be seen, and it makes it easy for them to navigate through the software as well. So in the operatory, they're going to select the patient appointment and then click on the chart screen in the top toolbar. They'll get a pop-up immediately alerting them of any medical or important details that they need to know about the patient. And if by chance the front desk marked any missing teeth, they're able to see that right away. This screen also has a number of tabs laid out here in the middle, and you are able to actually click on those tabs and drag them to the right in order to view multiple items at the same time. Now, because this is a new patient appointment, I can see that they don't have any history of anything yet. So we want to go ahead and start building our exam information for the patient. I like to start with our existing restorations and missing teeth. The way the charting works is that you have a view mode and an entry mode. The view mode is color-coded, so anything we see in red is going to be our treatment plan, anything in blue is our completed items, and I have my existing restorations, aka other doctor, set as aqua. You are able to click and change those colors as you'd like to, based on your office's preferences as well. Your entry mode is what you're entering into the system. So we can enter in planned items, items we completed today, or existing restorations. I'm going to go ahead and choose completed by other for my existing restorations, and then go to the left in my options menu and select the conditions menu. These menus and buttons and codes attached to the buttons are all totally customizable. You can even create different menus for different doctors in the practice. When you hover over the buttons, it gives you a tooltip telling you what that button is representing. So in this case, the big X is the missing tooth. When I select that button, I'm able to select all of the teeth that are missing in the patient's mouth without having to go back to the button and reselect it every time. Now, if I want to go ahead and continue and show that perhaps the patient has already had an implant placed on tooth number 9 by another provider, I'm going to look under my fixed and removable prosthetics and find my placement of implant button, select that, and click in the space where tooth number 9 would be. Let's suppose, for example, the patient also has an existing root canal, post and core buildup, and crown on tooth number 30. You can actually create buttons for the multi-codes that you create in your system. So I have a separate multi-code menu. If I go there and hover over the buttons, again, I find that we get a tooltip telling you what each button represents. I'm going to select the root canal with crown and then just simply click on tooth number 30. and you'll see the bottom half of the screen mirrors in coded format what's going on the top half of the screen. So here's my root canal, my crown, and my post-core buildup, and of course somebody seated that crown for the patient as well. Let's go ahead and suppose that we also find a few issues for the patient. If I go back to my conditions menu, we have a number of different options here, and again, keep in mind that you can add to the menu and create more condition codes that you may want to use. I'm going to go ahead and select cracked tooth and indicate on the tooth where there's cracks. Now, because number 6 is cracked, number 9 needs a crown, and number 12 needs something to replace the missing tooth, I'm going to go ahead and start my treatment plan. I switch my entry mode from completed by other to planned. I'm going to use the same menus and the same buttons on the left-hand side of the screen to choose what we're treatment planning. On tooth number 6, I'm going to go ahead and plan out to do a multi-code of a buildup and a crown. On tooth number 9, I'm going to plan to do an abutment for the implant and an implant crown. So I find that under Fixed and Removable Prosthetics. Here's our implant abutment and our implant crown. And on tooth number 12, we're going to start from scratch there and do the whole implant process ourselves. So under my multi-code menu, I'm going to find my implant with abutment and crown and just select the space where tooth number 12 or where the implant would be. If you look at the bottom half of the screen, you can see that we have a pretty healthy treatment plan going at this point. You can also see the patient has a maximum of $2,000 for the year through MetLife. So we need to really prioritize what procedures we're going to start with in order to maximize the patient's insurance. Another thing that's really handy here is you do actually get a little note sheet that gives you the frequencies and limitations of that patient's insurance plan. Because tooth number 6 is cracked, I'm going to go ahead and start there. So in the bottom section of the screen, I'm going to hold my control button down and select the crown and the buildup and put that as appointment number 1. All I have to do that is type a 1 on my keyboard after I select the items I want. Appointment number 2, we're going to go ahead and seat the crown, but we're also going to take an impression for the abutment and the implant crown on tooth number 9. So I hold my control button, select all the items I want, and then type a 2. What's really nice about our system is you can actually pull up different reports and items that you need from multiple screens. So instead of generating the patient's treatment estimate from the schedule, I can actually go to my options menu and pull up the patient's treatment estimate right from here. If you take a look at the patient's treatment estimate, you will notice that our system will automatically calculate, based on the fee schedules you plug in and the insurance data on the plan, what the patient's going to owe per each procedure, and it has put that in the order that matches the order you place those items in. So the patient has a nice subtotal here as far as what to expect to pay at each given appointment. Backing out of there, perhaps the next step in the patient's appointment is to scoot over to the hygienist, and they're going to run through a Perio exam with the patient. We have a couple ways to get to the Perio exam. We can either click Perio from the top of the screen, or you can click directly on New Perio Exam from the Options menu. You'll notice as soon as we open that all of the missing teeth we marked are already missing from the Perio exam. The Perio exam works like a grid. So on the left-hand side of the exam, you see the different lines that represent probing depth, mucogingival defect, and so on. In the middle of the screen is where you find your different options as far as what you're charting. So it always defaults to start on probing depth. What we'll do first is just click our starting point or pocket and begin plugging in the numbers that we find. DentiMax works with other programs as well, such as the Dental Rat or various voice-activated programs. You can mark any bleeding points for the patient as well, or any suppuration that you might find, or maybe a combination of the two. If the patient has plaque that you need to note, you can, as well as bone loss. You do have a specific spot here to put in any Perio exam notes that are important for this patient, and then simply save your changes in the options menu. Perhaps while your hygienist is running through the Perio exam with the patient, the doctor may be creating a clinical note for today's appointment. Our system does come with a default set of clinical note templates, which you can access from the Clinical Notes tab. We have a couple options here, so if we click Add Line, we'll be able to have a free form space just to type out a note. You can backdate a note as well, so if you forgot to make a note from yesterday, you're free to go ahead and change that, and you can even assign a tooth number to this specific note, which later becomes searchable. I can also use my clinical note template as an alternative by clicking Add Note. For simplicity's sake today, I'm going to run through the restorative treatment notes, although we do have several different options in our system, and all of these are totally customizable. I'm going to go ahead and choose the composite filling clinical note and click Select Note. The way this clinical note template works is that the actual templated section is on the left, and the question and answer section is on the right-hand side of the screen. So we start by reading it. The medical history was reviewed and updated, patient consented for treatment, and the patient presents for tooth number, and on the right-hand side you select whatever tooth or teeth numbers that the patient is here for treatment on. Once you're done selecting, if you take a look to the left, you'll notice that those teeth numbers have populated in that space, and we can go ahead and click the next button. The reason for the patient's fillings, and again on the right hand side, we're going to take a look here and see why we're doing the treatment. Perhaps they have a cracked tooth, and maybe they also lost an existing crown. When you're finished, you can go ahead and exit that question by double clicking the blank line. Click the next button, save your note, and once it's here, you still have the opportunity to edit or make changes to it as you need to until that note is locked down. You'll note the note's been locked by the color of the note. You can click on it and manually lock the note, or the note will automatically lock after 10 days from the date you created the note. Once the note's locked, it's no longer editable. DentiMax has a number of options as far as where you could post charges for the day, depending on who in the office is responsible for that. So if the doctor would like to indicate what he completed today, we can look at the items that we had planned, and once we're ready to post transactions, we just go to the Options menu and click Post Transactions. In this screen, you're able to just select what did get completed out of what you had planned for the day and click the Post Selected button. You'll notice those items change to blue, which is our color of completed, and they also say completed under the status. I intentionally left one of these items off so that I could show you how to alternatively post from the schedule. I'm going to go ahead and close the chart screen out, which takes me back to the schedule, and let's suppose the patient walks up to the front desk. If we're going to check George out, I simply right-click on his appointment, change the status to complete. We're going to get the same sort of post-transaction screen that we had in the chart, and all I have to do is select the items I want to post. I can still add new items, edit existing items, or delete items if I need to, and then click my Post Selected button. Once I post the charges, because George is going to be due for a hygiene appointment in the future and he's not scheduled yet, we are prompted to go ahead and create his next recall appointment. This is what we call the recall details screen, and you can access it from multiple points in the system, aside from being auto-prompted. What's great about this screen is you have a space where you can insert custom recall notes for the patient. You can also see the frequencies and limitations of that insurance plan that carry over into this space. You can see the dates the patient last had these specific procedure codes completed, and then you can simply select what you want to have the patient come in for the next time for their recall, perhaps just a prophy. When you're ready, you go ahead and click the Schedule Now button from the Options menu, and it will give you an appointment on the schedule for George for the date that he's due. That happens to land on a Saturday, and I don't think we're going to be in the office, so I can go ahead and select the next best option, which would be the 13th. If George agrees to come at 10 o'clock on the 13th, I simply click his appointment, drag it, and drop it in the space that I want him to go in. If I'd like to jump to George's ledger now that we took care of scheduling his next recall appointment, All I have to do is click Ledger at the top of the screen, or you can right-click on the appointment once again and click View Ledger. Now that we're on the patient's ledger, we have the opportunity to create their claim and also print walkout statements for the patient as needed, but we can also generate their claim from the claim screen in bulk at the end of the day. I want to point out this top right box on the ledger, which is showing you their insurance information. I can see that George has a standard deductible of $50, which has not been met yet. I can also see that he's got an annual max of $2,000, and we're estimating that he's going to use about $115 at this point. Here in the middle box, I can see his total account balance, any charges that have been made, adjustments, and payments. If you look just below that, I can see that of the $165, it's all a current balance, meaning less than 30 days old. So you get a nice snapshot of the aging details right here on the ledger. And then in the top left box, I'm able to see who owes what out of the $165. So our system is estimating that George owes $50 and that MetLife is going to pay us $115. If I have any questions as far as how that breaks down and where that estimate's coming from, I can actually click on MetLife, which is a hyperlink that opens up his insurance plan, and I can view his coverage details from here. If you take a quick peek at this diagnostic and preventative line, I can see that the standard deductible does apply to this service, and that's a $50 deductible. We can then use our back button to go back quickly to his ledger. If I need to, for whatever reason, check George's patient information screen, I also want to point out that his name is a hyperlink too that will take us right there. Our system does line item accounting, which is something really special. It's designed to mirror the patient's EOB and the office's EOB that you receive from the insurance company, so that there's no question as to why the patient owes money. If you take a look here at the transactions, we can see the D0150 for a comprehensive exam. We're billing out $40. Patient has not paid anything, nor have we given any discounts. The insurance hasn't paid or given us any adjustments. So the balance for that item is still $40, and so on for the next couple procedures. I'm going to go ahead and collect George's $50, give him a walkout receipt, and get him out the door, and then deal with the claim after. If I go to the options menu, we have a section to enter a payment, and I click Add a Patient Payment and Adjustment. In this screen, I'm able to choose how George is paying me, maybe plug in a check number if that applies, and I'm able to still see what his estimated balance is. I can click Pay this amount next to the value that he's paying, and the system will automatically distribute that money for me based on the items that George was set to pay towards. I am able to change this layout if I want to reallocate the funds to different transactions as well. Well, once you're done, go ahead and click Save Changes in your options menu. Now that George has paid us for his portion of the comp exam and bite wings, we can go ahead and get him a receipt and then generate his claim. If I go back to the options menu, I'm going to click Print a Walkout Receipt, and we have a number of different walkout receipts that you're able to use in the system based on how your office collects money from the patient. And you can see George's information right here. But you can see at the bottom of the screen the total charges, total amount he paid, and then the total family balance. Due right now is $0 because it's pending to insurance. And of course, we also get a note for George's next appointment for recall. Now that we've posted everything and sent George on his way, we can go ahead and jump to our claim screen and create his claim at the end of the day, if you don't like to do it per patient. From the options menu in the claim screen, I just click Create Claims. 26 claims created today, including George, and right now they're all ready to bill. We have 2 clearinghouse partners that we work with to send e-claims to, so if you sign up for either Dental Exchange or Apex, all you'd have to do is click Send e-claims, and all those claims that are ready to send will go out to be processed. Also, just like the claims, you are able to create statements in bulk as well, or per patient, from the report screen. And lastly, if you have anything left over that you need to scan in for the patient, you're able to just select your patient from any given screen and click the double sheet of paper icon in the top right corner, which will open our DentiMax Document Center in order to create patient letters and templates for the patient, add documents that you print to the Document Center instead of using paper. You can add signed documents here, scan documents, upload image files, ID cards, EOBs, and even the patient registration information from our kiosk will save into this space as well. The folders can be customized so you can create a space for anything that you need to have organized. I want to thank you all for joining me today, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great one!